RVA's leading social enterprise show. On the Mic with Mike King Biz, delivering food for thought. To find out more about the dynamic host of On the Mic with Mike, please visit his website at mikekingbiz.com.
Hello from Washington, President JB here. Whenever Jill and I leave in our car, we tune in to our guy, Mike King Biz, on ESPN Radio.
There's a business show in RVA, on the mic with Mike in RVA.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mic with Mike, the premier business radio program. I'm your host, Mike King, and I appreciate you being here with me. You can follow me on all social platforms, On the Mic with Mike RVA, or Mike King Biz. On the Mic with Mike, we showcase and highlight RVA in a different way. So today, we have Emily Watkins here with us. Welcome to the program.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Alrighty, so I always say it's a business show, so tell folks who you are and what you do.
I am a Director of Community Impact at the United Way of Greater Richmond and Petersburg. We got to make sure we get our folks down there included. Definitely. And right now I'm working on a new youth mental health initiative called Everyday Strong, which launched out of Petersburg this past March.
Okay, so you've been at the United Way a long time.
Yeah.
How are we, I always ask now, how are people doing as we come out of the pandemic?
There were so many challenges during the pandemic to organizations, to individuals, to families, and especially to our youth. So in 2021, there was a survey of Virginia teens, and 38% reported feeling sad or hopeless for 2 weeks or more. And that 2 weeks or more threshold makes it one part of the definition of depression, of a depressive episode. So we know that kids and teens, a lot of folks are struggling coming out of the pandemic.
So you guys know the United Way. People know them for all the things that they always did. The pandemic happened. You guys had to change. Yeah. What do you do different now that you didn't do before? That you're like, man, that thing worked, but we had never done it before.
Yeah, well, like so many organizations around the city and country, is that we were working to change our operations. We did a lot of changing how we work with organizations, what organizations we're funding, and then part of that came out of those changes was launching this new youth mental health initiative, Everyday Strong, because we just knew that from all of our service providers who work with children and teens, that mental health was really an emerging issue as we got out of that kind of key critical time of the pandemic, dealing with the after effects. People's emotional wellness remains.
Emily Watkins here with On the Mic with Mike. People know the United Way, but they don't know the United Way.
Yeah.
So we know the United Way because at certain times someone comes at the workplace and they say, will you donate and all that.
Yeah.
People don't realize that the United Way is the place where, sorry, my voice is killing me today. The United Way is the place where other nonprofits go to get help.
Yes, definitely.
Explain that part.
Yeah. So we do a couple of pieces. First is we fund nonprofits, so we provide grants out in our community. And then the second piece is that we convene partners and really so folks can work together and dig in on different issues. We have a workforce partnership team that's working on workforce development. We have our Everyday Strong, which is a partnership of several different organizations like SCAN, which stands for Stop Child Abuse Now, Petersburg Police Department, Petersburg Schools, and others, really to dig in on work on problems together that one organization alone can't solve, but together we can use our respective capacity and platforms to help make change in our community.
The folks in the nonprofit world are different folks.
Yeah.
They want to save the world. That was always you?
That was always
you. You were that caregiver kid.
Yeah. I have to admit, that was always me. I got, actually I started with an overseas focus. I got my master's degree in humanitarian assistance, but I really saw that you're best positioned to make a difference at home in your local community. The more you can empower local folks and work together in partnership, that's really key to making a change. So that's why I am focusing here in Richmond.
What was the draw to humanitarianism? Was it family oriented? Had you seen that, or it was something that just captured you?
You know, it was something that just captured me. I was very lucky to have the ability to travel as a young person. I did a summer travel program in Vietnam and lived there for a little bit and was able, did a student exchange to South Africa and was able to just travel and see. And it really just sparked me to want to make a change and difference, seeing kind of up close and personal some of the challenges.
So when you get to the United Way, you meet a number of like-minded people. People have that
Yes.
same kind of. How do we get the next generation of them, of you?
Yes. Well, I think the key is modeling. So showing showing our kids and teens what we care about the world, what we care about, and what we're doing. So if we're volunteering, if we're giving, if we're involved, we'll really set that example for our youth.
All right, on the mic, Emily Watkins here. The work that she does is so good. We play this. It sounds so good. It's heavenly. So let's get back to the program.
Yeah.
You launched it. When did you guys know that you needed to do something for that? When you saw the data of how many kids are feeling depressed?
Yes. Well, I would say we heard it from our community leaders and all the organizations that we worked with. We really heard every meeting we went to. In one day I went to a meeting in Petersburg and a meeting in Goochland, and both of the leaders and organizations in that meeting said youth mental health was their number one issue. It just seemed like, wow, there's really something here. And then that was backed up by the data. And I would even say before the pandemic, that same survey, 2019, was at 32%. So even before the pandemic.
That's a big number.
Yes, that's a big number. That's about a third. And so if we look at kind of what's going on with our teens, is it social media? There's so many, in some communities it's the impact of gun violence. There's so many things going on for our teens and youth right now. And then you layer the pandemic on top of it, and it's just really a big issue right now.
I always say that we had issues before, and a lot of times it was women focused. So you stepped off of the treadmill and went home to take care of family, raise kids and stuff like that. And then you got back on. But you were behind because the treadmill kept going.
Yes.
And if you weren't mentally able as anyone else, you took time away. There was something that was said about you that you weren't mentally strong enough to keep up. The pandemic sent everybody home on timeout.
Yeah.
Everybody got sent home. And we started to look at it like, wow, where are we as a people? Where are we? Can you see, you've seen people pre-pandemic, now you see, are we more open-minded when we look at something like teen depression or the problems that young people have with and getting help as a whole?
Yeah. No, I think people are recognizing that this is an issue. This is a problem. When we talk to parents, we either hear kind of on one side, maybe it's an older teen or young adult who just is spending so much time in the basement playing video games and is disengaged and disattached, and their parents are worried about him or her. Or it's the other side. It's more explosive behavior. It's throwing a chair in the classroom, or that explosive behavior. But both sides of those, they're kind of different sides of the same coin. It can be a sign of a mental health issue.
Alrighty, ma'am. I spent a lot of years in the Army, and Uncle Sam was my travel agent. Not exactly the sexiest travel agent. You don't go to all cool places, but you get to see the world from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit. So this is the sales pitch for young people, seeing the world and the impact that it can have on them.
Oh,
That's it. That's your thing.
Yeah.
That is your thing.
Yeah. I think anytime teens can experience something new, an opportunity to kind of build confidence and perspective, that really will help them just build that sense of resilience and that kind of put things into perspective. And yeah, it makes a big difference.
Everybody knows, so I always say the microphone is not free. Changing the world is not cheap, easy, or free.
No.
It's not, no. So what are the things that people could help United Way with? Because you guys are the helpers.
Yes. Well, we are also trying to help parents, and so everybody can, if they are a parent or if there's some other type of caring adult, if they're the soccer coach, if they're the uncle, if they're the barber, whoever, they can help make the difference in the life of a young person. So we provide United Way. We fund partners that provide, traditional mental health services like therapists, that type of thing. But really, what's going to help kids the most is if that caring adult in their life can help meet some of those emotional needs. So, we have a framework that we use that outlines the emotional needs of kids. It's really building that sense of emotional safety, connection, and confidence. And so we have tips and trainings and tools to help equip caring adults so they can help build that sense of safety, connection, and confidence that all teens need to thrive and be mentally healthy and mentally strong.
What are the type of programs that you have going in besides that down in Petersburg? Anything you want to shed some light on to let people know down in the Tri-Cities?
Yeah, so we're working with a number of partners down there that they all have programs. So one of our partners is SCAN, which stands for...
I see that. I never really knew what that meant.
Yeah, it stands for Stop Child Abuse Now. Yeah, and they have a number of community programs, like they're working with us on Everyday Strong, but it's trainings for parents, materials, getting it out, and then something like they have other programs, parenting groups, other trainings for people who want to go deeper in different areas of youth mental health.
I've heard of Everyday Strong. What is that?
Yeah, so that's our youth mental health initiative.
That's what it is.
Yes, that's what it is. And we call it Everyday Strong because oftentimes when we think about mental health, we think it has to be with a therapist or it has to be the big, I'm worried about you talk. But there's so many things we can do every day and any day to help support the teens in our lives and help them be emotionally strong and resilient. So we really focus on the everyday things parents can do to help support teen mental health.
How can people find information out about you?
Yeah, so our website is www.everydaystrongva.org. And there you'll find a number of materials, all of our upcoming trainings. We have them down in Petersburg. We're going to have some up in Ashland. We have one next week in partnership with the YMCA, the John Rolfe YMCA. So they're all over town. They're virtual, so people can get connected that way.
When you went to the United Way, did you know that was going to be your place? And when did you know, like, this is it for me?
Yeah, I think just that it's so locally focused and that I can see the impact that we make in our local community. It's all about getting folks together because they know if it's the teen in their community that might be struggling a bit, or if it's an organization that's doing great work. I think what drew me to the United Way was just really that local focus. That's our mission, is United Way of Greater Richmond and Petersburg. So really kind of that local community focus.
There you go. Emily Watkins, I'd like to thank you for coming on the program. One last time, how can people find information out about you?
Yes. www.everydaystrongva.org.
All right, you've been listening to On Mike with Mike, the premier business radio program. We'd like to thank you for tuning in. As I always say, make sure you support our sponsors and advertisers because the microphone ain't free. And my grandkids need stuff. One of them who's here today, Zachariah.
Mike with Mike, from Michael Mike, from the Michael Mike, Michael Mike. My name is Isabel and you're listening to Mike King Biz. Hubby, that's my scam.
So that my man Zach is behind the camera today. That's why I'm able to do it like this. That was his sister. That's his loving sister. He, the love that he puts on her is just amazing. The look on his face now says. On the mic, Mike, we got to run. All right, take care. Thanks, folks.